We are here yet again, another episode of Rise Together, a podcast for associates, by associates, and really excited today to talk with one of my good friends, the co-workers, somebody I've had the opportunity to not only see in action, but now is doing incredible things over here in Glenpool. So without further ado, store manager Chris Addison, right here at Walmart Glenpool. We met at Walmart 1597 in South Tulsa, or they call it the Bixby store. And here you are now in Glenpool. So how's it going?
Glenpool's going great. Glenpool is our Walmart tech store, formerly known as the EDLC store. So we do a lot of the tests that Walmart's trying to run with all the tech.
So you are on the front end of a lot of different technology that a lot of stores aren't even going to see for a while, possibly.
Correct.
Just trying to see, does it work? Does it not work? All these kind of fun things. What is one thing that we are allowed to say that you're running right now that you think is going to be a really cool thing in the future?
The Downstock app. Bossa Nova scanning side counters and sending the Downstock app. Just simplification for associates.
So the Bossa Nova, for those that don't know, is our little, what they used to call Wally, right? So the little robot, he rolls around and actually scans outs, or OSCA, 24/7 or a couple hours a day or something like that?
Scans 3 times a day, once from midnight to 3, and then he'll scan in the morning, and then he'll scan again in the afternoon.
So how does that directly impact our business?
Just a simplification for the department managers. So as he scans, he's sending information to the Downstock app. He's sending information to the availability app, so you no longer have to go through and scan availability, shelf availability.
That's awesome. So one of the biggest reasons, Chris, that I wanted to sit down with you specifically, not only have we become pretty good friends from working together, I was an assistant for you and you were the store manager for me, and it was your first store manager, right?
Right.
That was your first role. And so you did an incredible job there. But recently I got a hold of I don't even know if you call it. Have you blogged this? Have you actually posted this anywhere?
I haven't posted it. I've sent it to some co-managers that I've promoted to store managers.
That's outstanding. I mean, and so the list that I got originally was 17 things I wish I knew before I came a store manager, and that's turned into 21 things, and I heard now it's 24 things.
Right.
So it just keeps on going, and we do not have time to read through all of it, but maybe if you'll let us, maybe we'll attach it to this post, to this podcast today. But I did want you to hit a couple, and so I kind of picked a couple different ones on here that I thought were really incredible, and I'd love for you to speak to them. This first one, I picked number 6, must have compassion. What is small to you may be huge to your associates.
Yes, absolutely. And it could be just as far as associates building an end cap. As a store manager, you walk by an end cap that's built really well, and you won't acknowledge that. An associate might have spent, an hour or two just making sure that end cap was right, that the end cap was striped,
sure.
That it was priced right. And, for you to walk by it and not acknowledge it, I mean, that could be huge. So just make sure you're seeing all the small stuff. Even, going through a department that does not have any missing labels, make sure to appreciate that department manager.
Yeah, we're really good at sniffing out the one missing label.
Yeah.
So, looking for that opportunity. So do you feel like you do, do you miss that opportunity quite a bit for you? Do you have to remind yourself?
I do, and this is a constant reminder because you ultimately want to fix stuff, so you're looking for the bad or the wrong in each department, but you got to be able to identify the good.
Sure. And that's what we want that to happen. We want each and every person to identify the opportunities in our stores and what we can be doing to keep going to the next level, running great stores. What, as you continue, like when you think about that one specifically, because I think this one's huge for everybody. This isn't just for managers to spot the good. What if every associate took time to start spotting the good and encouraging each other, showing gratitude? I think we could see a pretty big change.
It'd be a huge change. I mean, just across the board, your associates are happy. The happier the associates, the happier the customer. They're going to provide better customer service.
Absolutely. So this other one that I saw, it says, number 14, it says, as a leader, you have to take a step back from your impulse, emotional reactions, and instead operate from a place of calm understanding.
Calm understanding. So everybody's probably seen them, those store managers that they just absolutely overreact to stuff that's important to them, of course. But that's not always the right thing to do. So a lot of times if that associate feels like they always see you being negative, they're not going to come to you. They're not going to, be able to feel like they can trust you or vent with you. So The calm understanding is you need to look at something. If something is wrong, what can you do to fix it? If it's an NCAP, if it's just standards within a department, what are you doing to affect it? How are you teaching that associate?
Absolutely. I love where you started talking about just now, just saying, that closed off, not becoming approachable because there's a point. I mean, there is a need for each and every one of us to be able to light a fire when we need to light a fire, right? When something really needs to move forward, it has to happen.
Correct.
But that might take a hit on approachability.
Absolutely. If all you're doing is walking around just identifying the negative, associates aren't going to come to you. To themselves, they're going to say, well, I don't want to just go talk to Chris because he's just going to bash me for something. So
talk to the associate for a minute, our hourly associate who does occasionally have somebody that is impulsive, maybe blows up. What encouragement can you give to them?
Just keep doing what you're doing. Ask questions. Ask what you can do better. That communication. I've had associates ask me if there is something that I've given direction and it didn't turn out the way. They ask me what they could have done better, or how they could have reacted different. Now, does that experience come personally? Because you've had different managers in your life. I've worked for several different managers. I've worked for some really good ones, and I've worked for some we won't mention. Probably no longer with the company, but yes, that is personal experience.
So, which, by the way, that's something that we didn't even. I just jumped right into the thing. We didn't get to tell your story. So give us the 30 seconds, 60 seconds. Chris Addison's Walmart story.
Started with Walmart and automotive. I was a technician. We did strut, shocks, alignments back when we did everything that we were supposed to do. Moved around with the company for automotive, and the TLE manager position went away, so I integrated into Division 1. I was an assistant at 992, and then from there I moved to a co-manager in Elk City, Oklahoma, and then from there I moved back to a co-manager at store 894 to where I got promoted to store manager in Bixby, and then ran Bixby for a little over a year, and then came to Glenpool.
And that's pretty exciting. What's the ultimate goal?
Regional right now.
Awesome. So, which has changed from when we met. When you first started out, you're like, I think I like just being here and in this role, and you've continued to obviously evolve, and you've started to meet all these other individuals coming to the store and hearing about things. Is that stressful? Having so many visitors in the store?
Being a tech store can be stressful because you feel like, you need to have higher expectations. You do get a lot of company. So
sure. Do your the hourly associates and everyone else, management team, do they feel that same? Do they get excited, or is it just kind of like, we got to make it look good all the time?
Honestly, if you're doing the right thing, your store should look good all the time anyway. But my associates now, they don't get so much excited because we do get company once a week pretty much. So
outstanding.
They do make sure that they greet the home office people. That's their biggest thing, is they want to make sure that the home office people will interact with them. So they will seek them out.
That's great, because we hear that a lot. Actually, I've heard that a lot of store associates don't connect when somebody comes into the store to visit from home office or wherever. They don't connect always with those because they're worried or concerned or maybe nervous. There's so many different reasons that can play out. But you hit it on the head. Our EVP Mike Moore said, you got to be prepared for the visit every day, and that's the customer. The customer comes in every day, and we got to be prepared for that visit. So you nailed it on that one. So we'll go back to the list here for a second. Number 17, when everyone else is out of gas, you inject more fuel. Never show them your quit. I love this.
So that pertains to so many different stuff. Right now we're going into tax-free weekend, and we're putting in long hours just to make sure apparel's right, back to school's right. People get tired, people get frustrated. The store manager is the first one to say, okay, I'm going home. People are going to follow. So the store manager is the one that leads by example and just steps up.
Have you hit that moment before, like where you just
absolutely
you're out of gas? And so what do you do? What are the things that you jump to? Just
remember that everybody's looking to you for leadership and guidance. It could be getting ready for Blitz. It could be getting ready for, for Christmas, Thanksgiving. All of those times, inventory.
Sure.
When you're tired, you want to go home, but you have to remember everyone's looking to you to get done.
So no Red Bull, Monster?
There's been some Red Bulls and some Monsters in there.
Make that happen. That's one of my favorite memories of you specifically, is you would have a ball that you carry.
My stress ball.
And so bouncing the ball and inventory times and things like that. But to keep you cool. At the same time, I don't think anyone ever thought you were flustered. You had that ball, and so I think some of us knew, but most of the part only because I've talked to you about it, not because we saw it in you. And I think you do a great example of that specifically. So 2 questions I always ask in every single podcast. Number one, has there ever been a time where you've thought about leaving the company, and what's caused you to stay?
Absolutely. I think if somebody says they've never had that time, they're probably not telling the truth. I've had that time, and I've had really great mentors that I've been able to talk to that helped me with career path. As an assistant, I was an assistant in a store for 9 years, and I was getting to the point that I felt like my career wasn't going anywhere. And then I had a great HR partner to be able to help me out and say, let's do a career path. Let's look at this, which I'm happy they did. So,
what do you mean by that? What did they sit down and do with you that made it so unique?
I just felt like they invested in me. So that's kind of one of my deals that's on the list. You invest in what you expect to get out. If you want to bring the best out of everybody and help them get to their goals and reach their career paths, it's going to ultimately help you. So.
Absolutely. I mean, and we talk about that a lot, right? Working yourself out of a job, helping the next person promote to your level, because at some point we want you to keep moving forward. So that's a really good word. You were an assistant for a while, and so you saw some pretty heavy times. I know you and I have talked about some of those long days and what that looks like. What do you say to those associates that are in the middle of it? The assistant that's right there right now working that they've just did back-to-back 12s or maybe even 14s because of the event coming up or anything like that. What do you say to those individuals?
I would say, pay attention to that customer. Look at the customers and, look at their baskets. They're able to get what they came to the store for because you put those hours in. If it's for the event, look at the kids. Those parents are able to get those Christmas presents, that the kids are wanting because you were able to stay and put them on the shelf. To me, it's all about the customer. So making sure that the customer is getting everything that they want. So, and you're doing that.
Absolutely.
Times do get tough, and times you do have to put in the long hours. And as I can tell you, as you promote, they get better.
What a great word. I mean, the customer has always been the forefront. Sam has said that since the very beginning. Service to the customer is our very first pillar, very first foundation for us. The very next one's respect for the individual. And so that's a really interesting segue to go, listen, we have to have service to the customer, and if we take care of the customer, we will continue to move forward. And we do that by respect to the individual, and we strive for excellence, and of course acting with integrity in all 3 of those decisions that we make. So we talk about Rise, and then we also want to talk about Spark. So what does the Spark mean to you?
It's our culture, just the excitement that it brings, just the motivation to be able to take care of the customer, as well as be able to take care of each other. Your brother or sister that's working beside you, or associates working beside you, making sure that they get everything that they need.
Because it's this place. This is that place, right?
This is that place.
And so there's so many different taglines out right now, and so that's exciting. Any final thoughts for us? That's pretty much our episode.
Just continue to do what you're doing. I know there'll be times where you guys get frustrated. Just keep pushing forward and communicate. No one's going to know what you're frustrated about if you don't communicate.
Well, I want to thank you so much for sitting down with us. And again, this will go live to the world here in the very, very near future. And so thank you guys so much for watching today. Make sure you keep telling your friends. Smash that like button uncontrollably. And share this with the rest of your associates when you see them at work. Have a great day. And remember, the only way we move forward is when we rise together.
There you go.